Hi folks, I sort of give you a bit of an update on what's going on in the greenhouse and polytunnel. So let's take a little tour. Filming this on May the 6th. So we've just had a very cold night and I've just taken the fleece off of the tomato plants. So let's have a look. Here we've got the polytunnel and next to it the greenhouse. So we'll take a little walk into the polytunnel first. And I've done a very silly thing, folks. So it's only May the 6th and I've planted out some tomatoes. How silly can you get? Because this weekend is forecast to be cold. Last night was cold, probably about 3 degrees. And I've planted tomatoes. So some of them are looking a little bit bent and sorry for themselves because I've just taken the fleece off. Got some varieties here which I haven't grown before. There's one here called Yellow Mimi, which is a yellow cherry tom. Again, sorry, they look a little bit bent, but they've just been weighed down by the fleece. A few more of those there. There's one here called Riesling, which again, never grown before. Cherry tom, it's an F1 variety. So looking forward to that. Now, I planted these two out and then came to my senses and thought, what am I doing? I think it's too early. I'm going to have to keep the rest in the greenhouse. The urgency was because something that will be familiar to all of you. I started to run out of space. So I wanted to move them on. But I think they'll be alright. I'll keep fleecing them up at night and we'll see how we get on. The soil, what I did before I planted, emptied out the compost bin, so just put some compost on top, full of lovely worms, compost worms. Where do they come from? They just appear from nowhere, don't they, in the compost bin? Mine's 3 foot off the ground, a rotary bin, and they still appear from nowhere. Wonderful, hundreds of worms. So that went on top, or rather before I did that, reel back a bit, I put some bloodfish and bone on here. I put a little bit of rock dust to remineralise the soil because I grow a lot of crops on here and it gets a bit tired quite quickly. Compost on top, and then as I plant the plants, the tomatoes, that all gets mixed in a little bit with some of the compost left on top as a bit of a mulch to stop the soil drying out too much, because it does dry out very quickly in a polytunnel. And hopefully, although I've been rather silly with the cold, they'll be okay. Next to those we've got some early carrots. These are just Amsterdam forcing, sown in, when exactly were they sown? They were sown 8th of March. A variety, nice hardy variety, which good for early sowing, and I'm hoping that those, they're growing quite well. They've been thinned now, so the rows are looking quite good, and hopefully they'll give me a nice early crop, earlier than the ones which are out on the plot. So some Amsterdam forcing. Next to those we did have some radishes, which we've already eaten. They've all gone, so there's a little bit of a gap. And then we've got some mixed salad leaves. Been picking these for several weeks now, actually, giving us some nice leaves. They've got some yellow cards in there, you'll notice. I don't like to use them very much because they tend to catch things which you don't want to catch, but do get a lot of flea beetle in here, and the radishes that were there were suffering, so I hoped that the yellow cards would catch some of the flea beetle. I think it worked a bit, they were okay. The salad leaves were sown on the 8th of the 3rd. 8th of March, where are we now? So we're 6th of May now, so they've been giving us leaves for a couple of weeks already. So within about 6 weeks we were eating leaves, and we're still eating them. The plants are starting to go a little bit to seed now although we've had some cold nights, had some very hot days, and so they have gone to seed a little bit, but they're okay. And I'll be sowing salad leaves outside now because it'll be too hot in the polytunnel. Nice radish here. Excuse the mess. That needs to go in the compost bin. Nice radish. This is a new one called Sora, and this was sown on the 25th of March, and it's produced some lovely radishes for us. As you can see, I've not grown it before, but these are really nice and juicy, tasty, not at all woody. So a variety called Sora, and I really recommend that. It's lovely. I should be sowing some more of those. I've sown some more outside on the open plot. So it's going to be too hot in here from May onwards. I won't sow from May onwards because they'll go to seed before they produce the nice roots. Then we've got some spare tomatoes. Pan out a little bit. Spare tomatoes. Oh, a tray of scented leaf geraniums because we like them. This little patch at the end here with a fig tree on it, a little fig tree. Again, it's been manure, had garden compost on it. It's the patch where I'm going to carry on planting out my tomatoes when it's a little bit warmer. I'll show you them in the greenhouse at the moment, waiting to go in. Over here, apart from some agapanthus, which is an African agapanthus, which is a bit tender, so has to be inside for now. We'll ignore those for the moment. Down here we've got under this netting, which is just to keep off the move that aside, sorry about that folks, just to keep off the birds which are foraging at the mad at the moment. We've got a little tray of salad leaves which will go up to the kitchen windowsill when they're ready. We've got a tray of rocket which is going to replace the stuff I'll show you next door in a minute. We've got a bit of a patchy tray of kale here, which is the Nero di Toscana, which are easy for you to say. Pan in on those, nice little plants, a couple of seeds to a cell tray, but very patchy germination. I'm getting certain things this year which aren't germinating as well as I'd like. Next to those, sorry I'm going a bit too quick here, we've got some Swedes. Writing about Swedes in the current issue, so I'm sowing them and I'm going to grow a few of those on the plot as well. Some Swedes there. Next to those we've got some parsley which germinated very well actually. Quite pleased with that. A couple of types of parsley there, and then next to that we've got some chervil and some dill which we're going to be planting out in the garden later on. Pretty soon actually. They are pricking out really, don't they? And then next to those just an empty tray which is our next lot of lettuces. Now these are Marvel of Four Seasons, which was the free seeds with the magazine, with Kitchen Garden magazine in this issue actually, so with the June issue, and I've been waiting for these because it's a lovely variety, so I'm quite excited that I've been able to sow them. Only went in a couple of days ago, so not up yet. Next to that we've got a couple of trays with some other seeds in, but we've got some rocket, which you might have seen me, there's a video of me planting this not very long ago, only about 3-4 weeks ago, and it's been giving us some amazing leaves, really lovely to flavour. I've still got the label in there to tell you when they were sown. Oh yeah, here we go. They were sown on the 9th of February. So quite early, very slow to start with, but they've been absolutely marvellous since then. Nice and pest free, nice soft leaves in the polytunnel, so it's a nice early crop to grow. We've got so much of it now and it's going to start to go to seed. We'll probably try and make some pesto out of that. Next to that we've got the, this is just bolt-hardy beetroot, sown in cells, multi-sown, so about 5 or 6 plants in each one. That was sown on the 23rd of February. Growing rather well, as you can see. Likes the polytunnel early on. It would go to seed later, but I think we'll get away with it because they're just starting to form some nice little bulbs, little roots, I should say. I've thinned them a little bit. We've used some of these in as a salad leaf. They came up rather thickly, so I wanted to thin them down, so I've got 4 or 5 plants to each station, and the idea is that rather than produce big roots, they'll produce some smaller ones. Could have thinned them out a bit more actually. You'll notice I've planted everything close together, possibly a little bit too close together, but the space in the polytunnel is so valuable, you want to make the most of it. We've got some all year round lettuce, Next to that, hardy variety for early sowing, so that's looking quite nice, and we've been harvesting that for a few weeks now. It'll form a nice head to it, and some of these are actually starting to head up. So what we've done is plant them quite thickly. Been thinning them out. There were two seeds to a cell, so these are 2 plants at each station. And what we've been doing is gradually thinning them, and we'll leave the remainder to head up. And then hopefully the Marvel of 4 Seasons, and also some other lettuces I've got planted out on the plot. I mentioned one called Valmain on an allotment update on a video I did a little while ago. We've got a couple of varieties out there which will take over from these, and that's the key really, to keep sowing so you've got something coming on all the time. And next to those we've got our broccoli Rabe, which is a crop I always put in February. Gives you the same sort of thing in a way as ordinary broccoli, these little flower heads, but only takes a matter of a couple of months to grow rather than 9 months for purple sprouting or whatever. And if I had a bigger plot, if I had an allotment, I'd keep sowing this. This is put in February. Again, free packet of seeds for Kitchen Garden magazine. And gives you these heads. You cut off the slightly bigger head, you get smaller heads popping up. This needs harvesting again. It flowers very quickly. You can see some starting to come out into flower there, which means we've blown it. We haven't harvested quickly enough. And what we normally do is go over, get these fast growing heads, put them in the fridge, and eat them over a few days, just so that they're not getting ahead of us. But this small patch has fed 3 of us for a few weeks now. We've had 4 or 5 harvests off of this. Starting to get a bit tired now, and I'll soon be pulling that out and replacing it with peppers or tomatoes. And then next to that we've got some onions which are growing on. These are Elsa Craig, and these are just ones my daughter stuck in actually. We found a spare packet of seeds, she's put them in, and they're growing really well. So they've been pricked out into here, and we're not expecting big bulbs from these. Elsa Craig's capable of growing lovely big bulbs that you might use for exhibition, but these ones went in a little late in March. For exhibition you might sow them January, February, but they'll make some nice spring onions and perhaps some smaller bowls for the kitchen. And then finally in here, the grapevine, which is growing really well. It's going down the centre of the roof. That's a black Hamburg, suffering really badly with scale insect at the moment. So I'm battling with the scale insect. I don't know if we can, probably not going to be a great picture, but you might see it on there. Ants running up and down getting the honeydew. But we'll win the battle, and hopefully, last year we had some really nice grapes off of that. So, sorry, I'm swinging the camera about here, but we're just going to go into the greenhouse here. There we are. Sorry about all the camera shake. The light's not in a great place, but hopefully we'll be alright. And here we've got some more tomatoes. These are the ones waiting to go into the polytunnel, which thankfully I haven't put out too soon like the others. What have we got? We've got some red Veranda. Now these will stay in pots. This is a lovely pot variety, a little small bush variety. It won't grow very big, so they will stay in pots and get moved up as they get big enough. Next to those we've got varieties that haven't grown before, some of these. Pink Charmer, pink sort of reddy pink tomatoes, looking forward to those. We've got Alicante, which of course everyone's grown, which is a sort of standby variety, which we'll get a nice crop off of, almost guaranteed, hopefully. More Alicante there. Super Mama, which I grew last year, a lovely big tomato for souping and that sort of thing, soups and stews and sauces. We make tomato sauce from it. That's a lovely one, Super Mama. And we've got Honeycomb, which is a lovely cherry tom, which I think is going to take over from Gardener's Delight. It's a lovely one. Grew that last year and it's great. Here we've got my, I shouldn't be showing you these actually, these are my Guinness runner beans, and we've got a competition going on between us all this year for growing these, so I shouldn't be showing the others, Emma and Tony, the progress really, but there you go, keep it to yourselves. And next to those we've got some Red Lake, I guess Red Lake or Red Swan? Red Swan actually, Red Swan dwarf beans, which will be going in the polytunnel. I'm going to plant those in front of the tomatoes that you just saw, and also some out on the plot. We've got some more dwarf beans which aren't even up yet, called Vanguard. This is my second sowing. It's I had a disaster. The first lot just didn't come up. Don't know why. But Vanguard and these will go out on the plot. I love dwarf beans. And then we've got loads of peppers. We've got sweet peppers. We've got hot peppers. Some are mine, some are my daughter. She loves growing them too. Jalapenos there. Some quite fiery ones. We've got old lemon. That's right, the hot lemon pepper, which I've grown before, which is lovely. Tony recommended that one to me. Watermelons, bit of a disaster with my watermelons. They got cooked. Got cooked in the heat. I didn't see them, but thankfully another couple have survived, and that's probably enough. Next to those we've got some cucumbers here. Mini Munch cucumbers and Cassandra cucumber. They'll be growing in these pots in a few weeks' time. Next to those, my courgettes, and there's a hole ready waiting on the plot for those. That's a lovely ribbed one, Romanesco, which I always love to grow. So that's my favourite, absolute favourite courgette. And I should do this sowing, and I should do another sowing in about a month's time, so that we've got a succession. You know, courgettes tend to get mildew, start to look a little bit tired. So I'll have some plants. I usually do a succession of sowings. Some sweet corn. This is one called My Fair Lady. Patchy germination again, not very happy with the germination. This is a bicoloured corn, F1 variety. And haven't grown it before, but haven't got an awful lot of space to grow it now. But I'll shoehorn it in somewhere, and we'll have some sweet corn, because it's homegrown sweet corn is the best. So that's an update on the veggies. We've got various other things in here. Oh, I've got self-watering planters, which you might just be able to see amongst everything else along the back there, which is where some more tomatoes and cucumbers will be planted. French tarragon there, but no, it's not French tarragon, it's the ordinary tarragon, and a few more peppers and things up here, waiting to go in. So that's an update on what we've got in the polytunnel and greenhouse, folks. We'll come back again in a few weeks' time and see how all this is progressing. Other than that, I'm going to spin you around again, show you my horrible mug, and just say thank you very much for watching. Do comment below again. You know, let us know what you're doing. We're all locked away at the moment, and it's just lovely to be able to compare notes. We can't go to the garden centre to the nursery and chat and see our mates and all that quite so much as we used to. So chat below. Tell us what you're doing. If you want to know any more about the things I've shown you, please do let me know. And we'll talk to you again in a few weeks' time.